Well, hello there. My name is Cammie Kannekens, and I'm excited to come to you as a history teacher. I'm from Alberta, Canada, and I've been a history teacher, we call it social studies in Canada, for over 20 years at the junior high and high school level. And now, in my role as a district instructional lead, I work with technology and curriculum into all the grades. And so let's dive in today and take a look at the many, many ways that Diffit is beautiful and wonderful for our history classes. So we're going to take a look at different features of Diffit, some of my favorite tools within Diffit, and just some of the things that I think really help history come alive through Diffit in ways that maybe weren't possible even just a year or two ago. I love this graphic. It's a new one from Diffit, and I think the beautiful part is sometimes our social studies or our history content can be so deep and so difficult. And so we've got this group of students that can do it, but then there's all these other students who can't because the reading's too difficult or the content is just above them. And so the thing we can do with Diffit now is we can take that content and we can make it just right for any level, including our new English language learners. All right, and so you can see all sorts of different activities that are available, cause and effect, quoting, image analysis. We're going to talk about a whole bunch as we go through here. And so once we create any documents, we have so many different ways that we can export them, whether you're a Google school or a Microsoft school or something in between. We can just make all sorts of great items. And so let's take a look at primary documents. So I have here an example of the French Revolution. This is a dense text for older students, and things that were written in 1791 can be very difficult to read, and this would obviously be a translation as well. And so we can take this text and we can do some work with it. Okay, so let's come over here. So we're going to take this link, and this is a big long document. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop it into, come on over here and pop it into Diffit. And we're going to go Start New. And I have an article or a PDF. So I'm going to paste in my link here. And in this particular case, I know that it's difficult. And so sometimes part of the reason that we use primary documents is so that we can have that intellectual depth. We want the kids to wrestle with the document. We want them to wrestle with that language from the 17 or 1800s because it's good for them to try and flex those mental muscles. But sometimes we don't want that. And sometimes we either just need a quick overview or we want to make it accessible for different amounts of students. So we can keep the original. And in that case, if I wanted to, I could keep the original and I could generate vocabulary and questions. And all of a sudden I have reading article straight from a primary document. But in this case, we're going to make this into a 5th grade reading level because I know I have students who are great auditory learners and they're sharp and they listen, but the reading can sometimes be a difficulty. Here we have my document. You can see I have vocab, multiple choice. Now, one of the things is that I don't necessarily want this particular image. And so I'm going to take a look and I'm like, these are, these just aren't super French Revolution. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to not add my own today, but I'm going to click search and I'm going to go French Revolution. And this article is about women. And so, yes, here are some classic. This is a classic image. I didn't have to find it and save it. I can search. I love that new feature of Diffit. That is one way that I can use Diffit, is I can take primary documents and I can make them easier to understand. Another great part about Diffit is this literally anything button. So in my province right now, we have a brand new social studies curriculum. In fact, it's even piloted this year. It's not even out yet. So that means there's no textbooks, there's no resources. Yet provincially, we're all supposed to teach that same curriculum. And so Diffit is going to be a game changer for my teachers who are piloting this history course. We're going to use the literally anything piece over here. So I'm going to come over, I'm going to go to Start New. And I'm going to pop over to my social studies curriculum. There's this piece down here that is really discreet. Like, this has never been in our social studies curriculum before. Nothing like it at all. Teachers are just, what? How can this be in our curriculum? But we're going to pop this in here. And this is the 5th grade and English. And so I'm going to click on history. Now, in this particular case, if you are from other places, you might have standards that you can align, and my Alberta standards aren't in here yet. I keep asking. I'm hoping to see those soon. Now we're going to click generate resources. So this is, again, for a brand new curriculum, a really obscure curriculum topic, empires in Africa. All right. And so you can see here that it has generated some text, not very much. Now, I might say, ooh, that's a little short. I'm looking for a little bit longer, so I can go adjust text. I can ask it to be longer. There it is. Now, I like to shorten this up. There we go. And I also like to put grade 5, the reading level, on there as well. So I have a brand new text. Now, I love that I can come in and I can scan and I can say, you know what? This word empire. I'm not sure that my students will know what empire is. Okay, there it is. And are there other words? I can come in here. I can take the vocab words if there's something that I don't think is necessary. So this word disagreements, I don't think that's right. I can delete that one, and then I can also add vocab words, and I can also add images if I would like as well. So I've just clicked on the add images. So this is great for younger learners and vocab, and I can go ahead and change and customize those as well. All right, so literally anything is great. If you have something fairly short, I could just put a topic. I can put a short little curriculum item. And then again, I could generate that. I generated that at 5th grade. I could go down to 3rd grade or up to 7th grade if I wanted to use it to work with some older students as well. If we go back to our document here, another thing that I love about Diffit, and this is super important as historians, is we want to know where our sources are from and if they're reputable. Because like I said, this is a brand new curriculum. I'm generating this as a new source that I want to actually use with students. And so I want to know that this is legit. So I've clicked on the sources button up here. And you can see here my sources: Wikipedia, National Geo, .org, history.com, BBC. This last one here, a SlideShare, you know what? That could just be someone's unaccredited work. And so I might, if I'd like to, I could say edit sources. I can say, ooh, I want to get rid of this one. And I can add my own if I wanted. Now, I'm not going to click and take time, but it would redo the whole thing and it would get rid of any references. In this case, it wasn't very many, just a few at the end where it used that document. And so we can really customize and control those new items as well, and make sure that the information that it's drawing from is from a credible source. Teachers also can use videos and articles and PDFs, and we showed a PDF or a link before. Let's take a look at how wonderful this is as a video tool. A crash course video on world history. You've maybe used Crash Course before. This is such a powerful tool. So I'm going to come over to Start New, and I'm going to use the middle tab, article or video, paste my YouTube video link in here. And in this particular case, I want this to be for 6th grade, right? Maybe I want to just make it really simple. I can generate resources. And so it's going to generate basically a quiz from my YouTube link. So if you ever want to have your kids accountable for the YouTube video, but you just want a quiz, you don't necessarily want them to have to do a video where they're stopping and answering the questions within, this is a great way to go about that. I've got some multiple choice questions here. Now there's only 3. Let's say I want to add some questions. I really love this part. I can add a few questions, and if you have a premium version, you can add some depth of knowledge questions. Let's say I want to add some strategic thinking questions. I'm going to add 3 more. And then what I really love is I'm going to take those questions from my video, I'm going to make sure that they're okay. I can edit them if they're wrong, because sometimes AI can be wrong. And I'm going to come over to Forms, and I can pick just what I want. Now, in this case, I don't want the summary. I don't want the short answer. I don't want vocab list or open-ended prompts. I'm going to just put the multiple choice questions in there. And so I can quickly and easily take a YouTube video, run questions, and then create a Google form with just the pieces that I want. It's going to populate with the image that I have, and I could add my YouTube video in there as well if I wanted. And so there, just like that, I have a video quiz that I can send out to my students. Now, I also have an article that I was just working on. I have a great big summary of the French Revolution that I've been using with my students. And so I took that big long summary. Here it is. And it's a multi-page document, an outline. It's got all of this text. And so let's say I wanted to take that and use that to make an activity for my students. Now, I've gone ahead and I'm going to go to the one that I've already created, just so we can see what that looks like without waiting for it to load. So here's the overview of that article. You can see that it doesn't look super pretty right here, but that's okay because I don't necessarily want to use that document. My students already have that document in paper. This is what I want to do. I want to make that into a hexagonal thinking activity. And so I've come in here ahead of time and I've added all the words. I made a list of words from that article and from the course that I want students to really know. And so I've added them all in here, and I have a whole bunch. If I want to, again, change those, I can hit edit. And so there's one here that says biggest blunder. I think that's silly. I don't want to put that one in there, but I do want to add a vocab word. I want to use the word conservative. So I can add anything that I want. Often the AI doesn't get it right and pull the words that I want, or I want some really specific ones. So it's going to come down here. It's going to add them. And so it's added two. I'll go ahead and make sure that those are the right kind of definitions that fit my task. And then, are you ready for this? I want to make this into a hexagonal thinking activity. Hexagonal thinking is my favorite for history. And so what I do here is I can pop all of those vocab words. You'll notice that it takes up to 16. And so that is exactly what I want. I'm going to customize that. I love that we can do that now. So here are my words, and I can go ahead and change the content if I wanted. I could pick a different picture, return to activity. So if anything's not right in here, I can change any of that. Maybe this is a culminating activity. And so over on the right-hand side, I can get rid of delete the reading. I can delete the multiple choice. I can delete the short answer. And I'm going to leave the open-ended one in this particular case. And there we have it. And so I could even add a section so I can add anything else I want and go ahead and organize those around. I can drag those up and down. Whoop, there we go. And I can export my activity. So that's hexagonal thinking. And super for all sorts of different things. Another thing that we did, we already looked at creating comprehension questions. We used the French Revolution video. Got ahead of myself there. And then the last one that we're going to look at, we talked about the quiz mode. I forgot to mention that you have your answers already checked. You should always check those, of course, but the answer key is already made for you. The last one that I want to talk about is another favorite, and that has to do with images. And so I'm going to take a look at a moment in time image. So we're going to come back to my resources. So let's come back to a resource that we just made. And I'm going to go see all export. Up at the top, there's this great chooser. Now I can't remember which category that's in, but I know it's called a moment in time. There we go. So there's two, there's slides and the workbook. Slides means that students are going to be able to do it digitally. Workbook might be if you want to print it. In this particular case, let's use this one. So here I can see the picture. And so I really love this activity. It is so great for historical thinking to find a provocative picture. And this one certainly is. I mean, there's women pulling carts, and there's axes and spears and all sorts of agricultural equipment. And so this would be a great image for a moment in time. There is the vocabulary that is pulled from that article. Again, I can keep as much of this or as little as I want, but for this one, I'm really in it for that moment in time. And this is another great piece that I love to use at the beginning of my history classes when we're about to study something new. I pick a provocative image from the time and add that. And so a moment in time does that really, really great. Who is involved? Basically a who, what, when, where, why, and then I see, I hear, I smell, I taste, I feel. Excellent historical thinking activity. At the end, I also like to add a turn and talk activity as well. And so it's super helpful if students have an opportunity to talk about what they saw in that image, and students often see different things in someone else. And so that's a great one as well. We can share our resource sets. If we want to share those resource sets, we just come to these three buttons, share with our colleagues, and we can put that link digitally into Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams or anywhere else. And then we're going to do one quick last thing, because current events is so powerful, and current events is history in the making. It is the Olympics right now. I'm a Canadian. I've got an article here, a summary article that I might use with my students. Look how easy we can make current history. I'm going to pop this in, article or video. And so I love this. It's taken the images straight from this article. So again, I could pick one that I find really interesting, and I could make a image activity. In this particular case, I'm going to go with a bubble map interactive slides. And so this one is where there are some summaries. I could probably not add vocabulary because it's current events, but maybe I want to. I can, in this particular case, it's going to break the article down into sections, so I could have students find summaries. So many different ways that we could use this, but even just finding that great image and a summary, super easy way to use current events. And then at the end, I also always like to use the open-ended questions. So I get rid of the multiple choice, the summary, and I use some open-ended questions because Diffit does a great job of making students connect with that current event, that thing that's happening from the article, and giving them a personal connection. So history in the making, current events, Diffit is great for that as well. So many ways to use Diffit for the history class, from littles up to bigs, from history long in the past to current. Diffit for history.